We never step out of the vortex in order to focus with anyone about anything that they don't want. That's not our job. Our job is step 2 of the process of creation. Step 1, that's your job, but it's not something you have to work very hard at. Life just brings it to you. Contrast causes you to know what you don't want, to know what you do want. So you're launching rockets all day, every day. Step 2, that's our job. Source energy, inner being, non-physical. We stand in the vibrational frequency of the furthest launch that you have offered. And we stand in vibrational alignment with the total package of that which you have expanded to. Through all that you've been living, that's where your inner being, that's where that which you call God stands. In utter knowing of who you are. Step 3 is your job, and it's what the art of allowing is all about. Step 3 is you got to find somehow, some way, thought by thought, subject by subject, day by day, moment by moment, to be in vibrational alignment with who you've become. And if you succeed at it, or if you're sort of succeeding at it, you thrive. You have tears of appreciation running down your face. If you don't accomplish it, then you have something less than that. But it's always there as guidance letting you know. Well, that's as clearly as we've ever spoken it. And you've received it as well as any group of non-believers could it. Well, you see, you don't believe in your vortex in the way we do, because we're standing in it as the vibrational essence of it. And we have full knowledge of all that you've become. So as we stand in full knowledge of all that you've become, we don't fret for a moment about where you stand in the absence of anything you want, because we know it's only a vibration away. You say, oh, it's not just a vibration away, it's a manifestation away. It could be years. And we say, only if you're diligent about poking around where you are. In other words, there could be an instant manifestation. You could be vibrationally up to speed with who you really are now, because who you really are is a done deal. Vibrationally speaking, it's done. But you mostly don't do that because we love you very much. You are so hung up on what is. You've gotten so used to focusing your eyes and ears and fingertips and your nose and your tongue. You are so good at interpreting your physical life through your sensual senses that you are not as practiced at enjoying the vortex, because in the beginning, the vortex isn't vivid to you like real life manifestation is. Look around this beautiful room. Ooh, cool. Look around this beautiful room. In other words, there is so much to enjoy in an environment like this. You get to hear this beautiful voice, infinite intelligence, letting you know who you really are. How delicious is that, to hear that moving through the vibration of your eardrum and get to feel the fullness. You get to see one another in this beautiful room. You were out in the freeways and moving through the city. In other words, physical life experience in all of its manifested glory is so intoxicatingly attractive because you are interpreting it with so many of your senses. And we get it that when you come to a gathering where this man calls his wife Abraham, and she must be a sort of split personality because she refers to herself as we, points at the floor, insists it's a vortex, and tells you to get in it. In other words, there's a vortex. There's a vortex where who you really are is, and we know you look over there and you don't really see the vortex. Because it's a concept that we are painting for you, but it's a reality that you can vibrationally translate into immediate emotion. In other words, when you're in the vortex, you feel clear. When you're in the vortex, clarity is your experience. When you're in the vortex, you feel vital and alive. You feel love. Appreciation and passion are pouring through you when you're in the vortex. In other words, the vortex is a feeling place. It's a confirming place of the wholeness of all that you are. And if you like that feeling enough that you're willing to give up some of the reality that's more vivid, like car crashes and roadkill. Well, we're just kidding, because we know there are a lot of things that are beautiful in your world, but there are some things in your world that aren't so beautiful that you still look at because you feel compelled to look at anything that is manifested because it is reality, and you think that because it is reality that it deserves your attention. And we say some of it does, but some of it doesn't. Don't let the fact that it's reality be the compelling reason that you're looking there instead of feeling your way into the vortex. And as you make the decision that you're going to spend less time focused upon what is, especially if some of what is isn't pleasing to you. And you know, it's funny. You don't just focus upon what is. You focus upon your imagination of what is going to become that you're not going to like even more. In other words, oh, it's bad now, but it could be so much worse. And so we just want to bring your attention to the fact that you're really good at the what isness, and even at using your imagination about the negative what isness. Why not use your desire to feel good as your reason to feel your way into the vortex? And then, so what we're suggesting is that rather than letting an unwanted event train your vortex, train your vibration away from the vortex, train your vibration into compliance with unwanted things, where you just sort of go along with it because it's happening. We want you to be aware that you have the power of focus. And we want you to be aware that when you know what you don't want a little bit, you put its equivalent in your vortex. So when you sort of don't want something, you sort of want something, and that sort of wanted thing goes into your vortex. It's equivalent. It's the specifics of what you do want are equivalent to the specifics of what you don't want, and other way around. So by the time you've built something into this pathway of what you really don't want, you have, without knowing it, constructed a really specific what you do want over here in your vortex of creation. We call this vortex of creation, it's the bounce and the holding place where the evolved version of you is held in vibrational readiness for your attention to it. It's there. Now, if you're talking about manifestations, then you're probably not all that interested in these vibrational thought ways that have been carved out. But we want you to understand that the vibrational thought way that you've carved out is going to manifest depending upon where you eventually light in terms of your vibrational readiness. So we want to say to you, you can let unwanted things train your vibration into a match with what you don't want, and law of attraction will show you the evidence of where you are. Or you can let the vortex, which is the holding place for all things wanted, train you into a vibrational frequency, and the manifestation of those wanted things will show themselves to you. But what we really want, what we really want, what we want more than all other things put together, what we want, Jerry's always saying, Abraham, what do you want? What we want, 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 is that you will accept the construction of these thought ways prior to their manifestation. Because if you will accept the thought ways of these creations, if you will accept the creation of your vortex, if you will accept the creation of the unwanted things, if you will accept that they are being created by your attention and therefore by your creation of thought ways, if you will accept that they are being created long before they manifest, and you will pay attention to how you feel during the creation process, two things will happen. Two really good things. One, so much better than the other, but we're in disagreement with you about which one is the better thing. Two things will happen. One thing is sure, the manifestation of what you're focusing upon the most will happen. It will happen. It's law. It will happen. It's a done deal. It's a sure thing. It will happen. You will get what you are vibrationally active about. Better said, you're getting what you are vibrationally active about. So one thing, it will manifest. But the other thing is, and this is our favorite part of all of this, is that when you accept that this vortex is spinning and that this vortex contains the I know what I do want part of everything that you've been living, when you accept that and you let that vortex train you into vibrational compliance or alignment, then every step of your journey, even before the manifestation begins to reveal itself to you, is fun. It's pleasurable. You're frisky, you're full, you're inspired, you're enlightened. You feel that energy, you feel that enthusiasm, you feel that passion. You feel what a creator feels when you're moving in the direction of who you really are. So we want to remind you that the emotions that you feel are nothing more than, and oh, is it ever important what they are? They are nothing more than your indicator about whether you're moving down a thought pathway towards something unwanted, or whether you're moving down a thought pathway towards something that you are wanting. In other words, every time you feel negative emotion, it always means the same thing. You're moving toward unwanted and away from wanted. Every time you feel positive emotion, it means you're moving toward wanted and away from unwanted. In other words, you're the focuser of all of that, period. There is no getting around it. So when you use excuses like it's interesting, or it's happening, it's a world event, and it's happening, and I don't want to be unaware, when you use excuses like, well, I need to be informed, when you use excuses like, well, it's true. When you use excuses like, well, I need to explain it to someone, or they don't get me unless I really get involved, or I won't be taken seriously unless I have a really objective viewpoint about things. There are all kinds of such flawed reasoning, bogus reasons that you use for your explanation of why you focus away from who you are, that we come and get a little rowdy in our explanation that you are the creator of your experience and you are building constant thought ways. And you have come with the intention of selecting and joyfully moving down those pathways for the constant, never-ending, extraordinary discovery of what this magnificent universe can dish out to you as a representation of what you've got going on vibrationally. It is exhilarating to us to watch you in this process of choosing. And when we visit with our physical friends, often they do not realize that they are choosing vibrationally. They are choosing through their focus. They are choosing without words, sometimes with words, but often what you think you want, or even what you are speaking, is different from the vibration that you are actually emanating. So, as you were source energy before you came into this physical body, and a part of it is here, and as you sift and sort in the way that you knew you would as the leading edge genius creator that you came forth to be, as these rockets of desires emanate from you, they are held by the source energy. They are held by the non-physical part of you. And we have begun fairly recently to lovingly refer to this state of vibrational beingness, this state of vibrational becomingness, this eternal expansion of which we are all a part. We refer to that place, that holding place of these rockets of desire that you are emanating as your vortex of creation. And the reason that we call it a vortex of creation is because of the powerful law of attraction, who is always gathering all cooperative components. There is this powerful energy that is swirling, that is the culmination so far of that which you have become. You were source energy before you came into these bodies, and you are source energy while you are in these bodies. But here in these physical bodies, as you are exploring and expanding, the non-physical part of you is becoming with every request that you make. When you ask, it is given. It is given immediately. When you ask, it is given immediately. It is not just that it is given, it is that the larger part of you becomes what you are asking for. So if you are sick, you are asking for wellness, and that non-physical part of you is now weller than ever because of the contrasting experience that you've lived. If you have not enough of something, like clarity, in your confusion, you ask for more clarity, and that non-physical part of you becomes more clear because of the specific request that this confusing situation has caused you to call for. In other words, you continue to expand, constant expansion, constantly becoming, which means there is the potential, we know you have noticed it from time to time, there is the potential of you not being up to speed with that which you have become. You have noticed it. And when you are not up to speed with all that you are, you feel the emotional indicator of that. That's what your emotions are letting you know. When you feel frisky, when you feel exhilarated, when you feel passion, when you feel love, when you are in the mode of appreciation, you are tuned in, tapped in to the fullness of all that you are. And you are allowing yourself, under those emotional conditions, to be seeing the world through the eyes of your source. The whole of you is present in that moment of appreciation or love. But if you are angry,